Good morning and welcome to the Ostersund Arena here in Sweden on day number 2 of the World Para Ice Hockey Paralympic Winter Games Qualification Tournament. Today it's Sweden, the host nation, up against Japan, a side that dismantled Germany pretty comfortably yesterday by 6 goals to 2. Will they be able to make it 2 wins out of 2 against the Sweden side with a fresh impetus following a change of coach from the A-Pool World Championships earlier on this year? Erik Wikström is now at the Swedish helm. Will the host nation in yellow be able to get on the board with their maiden 3 points? A very good morning and welcome to this wonderful facility here right in the heart of Sweden. I'm Jonathan Bell, and I'll be taking you through not just this game today, but also the one we have later this afternoon as well, when Germany take on Slovakia. And if you missed out on yesterday's action, just give you a quick recap. We had Germany, as I mentioned, take to the ice yesterday afternoon against Japan. It was a good win by 6 goals to 2 for the Japanese side. It did come at a cost, however, because unfortunately they lost one of their key players. Defenseman Ijai Masawa has suffered a broken collarbone and has gone back to Japan today after the injury sustained in that match. Earlier on in the day, Czech Republic beat Slovakia by 5 goals to 0. They certainly showed exactly why they are the B-Pool gold medalists coming in to this qualification tournament for next year's Winter Paralympic Games on a very high wave indeed. As we look at the Sweden side, it was a very tough A-Pool World Championships for them in the Republic of Korea back in April this year. They were very thin on the ground in terms of squad members. Thankfully, they have a much more bulky roster coming into this one. Japan will be looking to use the momentum gained from yesterday afternoon's game against Germany to ignite them and charge them towards another 3 points. They do have a rest day tomorrow as well, do the Japanese, so they will certainly be wanting to give it their all, make sure they've got nothing left in the tank and recuperate in the next 24 hours. Your officials today: Martin Rapak in the middle with the orange armbands on. On the right is Henrik Andersson, and on the left is Tony Rundstrom. So captain for Japan, just greeting the officials here, that is Satoru Sudo, who has played a crucial role in developing the Japanese national team. And he's been a very prominent figure over the years as well. He was part of the Japanese side that got silver at the 2010 Vancouver Winter Paralympic Games. Japan hoping to be back next year with another chance of getting a medal in PyeongChang. Swedish skipper today is Peter Ayala, the poster boy, if you like, of Swedish para ice hockey. He's a big advocate of the Swedish Hockey League's partnership with the para ice hockey setup here in Sweden. And he has played in 4 major championships for his nation. Can he make it 5 by helping to stamp their tickets for the Republic of Korea next year? So a fresh optimism around the Swedish side, and of course on home territory, no better way and no better venue for them to be able to stake their claim for a spot in next year's games. As I say, the Japanese side do have a day off tomorrow. All 5 teams at this qualification tournament have Thursday off, so Japan will have 2 days off in a row. It's been a busy first couple of days for them, playing the last game yesterday and the first game today. But you do have to earn your place in the top 3 of this competition in order to qualify for the Winter Paralympic Games. And if you are unaware of how qualification materialises in this tournament, the top 3 go through. It's simple as that. They'll be joining Norway, Italy, Canada, the United States and the host nation Republic of Korea at next year's Games. There's a lot at stake, and Sweden kick off their campaign with their first match here against the Japan side, who looked very threatening indeed yesterday. Hori trying to make early inroads. Ingvarsson coming across, a very experienced number 3 at the back for Sweden. Japan very physical yesterday. O'Hara going for a strike that Ulf Nilsson manages to get down and just keep under his glove. A fast start, something that is no surprise at all. Japan helping to create a superbly competitive match yesterday against Germany. And it appears already in the first 30 seconds that they are going out with the same intent here against the Scandinavian Swedes. Man trying to get the puck there for Japan was Masahiro Kumagai, the number 96, who got 2 goals yesterday against Germany, which saw him get player of the tournament for the side in black. And Japan opting to keep the black jerseys today as well. Uero had a wonderful game yesterday. He's charged down by Meng, and a burst forward from him as Sweden now try and flurry forward into the opposition third. He's well met by Sudo on that far side, and he has managed to thwart the promising attack there from Sweden. It goes out for icing, and so everyone will move back up to the other end of the ice. Ulf Nilsson already called into action early on. He was actually named the best goaltender at the World Championship A-Pool tournament earlier on this year in the Republic of Korea. He made 144 saves in 7 matches, which is quite incredible. I'm sure his defence were very thankful indeed. 53 years of age of Ulf Nilsson. At the other end today is Shinobu Fukushima, who is 60 years old and the oldest player at this qualification tournament. Uera, certainly a man to watch, not just in the Japanese ranks but in the tournament as a whole. He certainly makes the Japanese tick. Sudo, him and Ingvarsson locking horns on the near side. Japan coming out on top, and the penalty has been called as well against Ingvarsson. And teeing is the call, and Ingvarsson will sit out for the next 2 minutes. The referee, Martin Rapak, come across to the near side and make the tee signal. Of course, teeing an offence that is unique to para ice hockey. A lot of the fouls and the infringements you make in para ice hockey is similar to that of your regular forms. However, teeing with those sledges, where you go into the side of an opponent with the end of your sledge, is an offence that sees you get a minor penalty. Ingvarsson on the wrong end of that one, and he will be out for the next 2 minutes. So a chance for Japan to exert some pressure. Kadoma putting his sledge towards the far side, picking up possession. And it's come across to the near side now, and Uehara. Sudo. Japan moving it quickly. Yoshikawa tries to shoot. It's blocked well by Nielsen, who just clears his lines. And a momentary bit of respite for the Swedish backline. All hands to the pump here, though, as Uehara slams one in there. I think someone may have lost a stick as well in the process. There is a bit of debris on the ice, but it appears to me that all players do have their sticks with them at the moment, so I'm not quite sure what that is on the ice on the far side. But nonetheless, play continues with Hori. He's all alone at the moment. apart from the 4 yellow shirts around him. Uehara's come for help. Sudo. He has it back. Just managed to keep it inside the attacking third as well. Slams it into Nielsen, who didn't really know too much about it, but got sufficient contact on it. And then heavy contact there by Hori on Holm, and it's going around the crease and it squirms underneath Ulf Nielsen there. It was Kumagai who tried to get his radar intact, but he just couldn't quite direct it goalwards. Pressure still on, Kumagai fires one in, and has that gone into the back of the net? The referee seems to be saying not. Behind the goal, Kumagai slams it towards Ulf Nielsen's goal, and the referee pretty confident that that one there did not cross the line. You could see him behind the goal, put his arms outstretched either side of his body to indicate no goal. And so, a escape for Sweden. We'll live to fight another few seconds of this penalty without conceding, but Sudo could change that, fires it just wide. The ricochet may be good for Kumagai, but just couldn't quite get to it before Lundström. And Lundgren now does lose out, but Sweden weather the storm, and thankfully for Erik Wikström's side, Ingvarsson can now come back on from the penalty box, and Sweden are back at full strength. Wonderful start to this game, and Japan in the first 4 or 5 minutes more or less showing the exact same sort of form and purpose that they had about them yesterday against Germany, but Sweden have held firm, but they've offered little so far at the other end. Of course, been difficult for them, spending half the time we've already played a man down. Uehara, nice offload on the outside, and a bit of space to work with for Kadoma. Ingvarsson closing him down and forces Kadoma to just slam it long, and then a glove and a stick has been lost just near the blue line by Annika, who manages to pick both up while the attack continues in front of him. Ingvarsson very busy while he's been on the ice so far in this game. He was ever present in Gangneung for the World Championships for Sweden. A key part of the Swedish programme, and he was actually named as well as the best defenceman at the 2015 B-Pool World Championships. An integral part of the Swedish setup. Annika picks up possession, just slams it into the far corner, hoping someone can get onto the loose puck, but it's Nielsen who thwarts those plans by getting there first for Sweden. A bit scrappy in the centre at the moment. Vaxen lays claim to that one, but then loses his bearings a wee bit, and Kumagai pulls it back, and this is threatening. The shot comes in low, it's deflected onto the top of the net by Hori, who blocked the shot of his teammate Yoshikawa, who slammed one in low towards Nielsen's goal. Hori got a large slice on it, and it just loops onto the top of the Swedish net. And again, another close shave for the Swedes. So play will restart with the face-off. Hori been very sharp in the early stages of this game. Takahashi, a lot of freedom to pick up the puck and release it to Sudo, arcing around the goal, trying to find room for a pullback. It's found its way into the centre, but Sweden just clogging up that middle part of their own territory at the moment. Sudo strong against Meng, but the loose puck battered away by Sweden. Repelled by Uehara, it's cannoned off the helmet of Holm and high into the air before dropping for Lundgren. Does very well indeed, but he scoots into a very dangerous area. If there was a man in black there, then that could have spelt trouble for the home nation. And now there may be a counter charge on. Kasperi, first time we've seen him propel forward with those blades of his. Trying to wave off the pressure of two in black. He's also got a teammate there to help him as well, in the form of Holm. The pressure peters out. And Japan gratefully have it back at their sticks. And gracefully, Uehara glides forward. But the pass forward goes out for icing. And a bit of a chance for a breather. Almost halfway through the first period here in Ostersund this afternoon. It's 12:10 local time. Very good afternoon to you wherever you're watching around the world. It's great to have you with us. Do make sure as well, if you are new to para ice hockey or you've just got any questions about this tournament or the sport in general, send them to us at Para Ice Hockey, and the hashtag is Ostersund 2017. Both sets of players almost losing the puck there. It's been tracked down, however, and it's a good opportunity. Now, wonderful interception by Uehara. Sweden had a 2-on-1 there momentarily, but Uehara just sniffed out the squared pass attempted by Rakos. And almost spelt danger for Japan, who are rocking a little bit here. And Sweden are getting some time on the puck. Ingvarsson trying to slam one in towards Fukushima's goal. Japan wise to the danger now, however, and trying to flip defence firmly into attack. Ingvarsson. Solid start from him so far, barring the penalty conceded. And it looks as if there will be another penalty conceded here as well, and another team call that may be on the horizon, this time for Mamoru Yoshikawa. That is when Sweden lose possession of the puck, as they do now, and so the referee, Martin Kapak, will come across to the near side and signal what the infringement was, and indeed it's another team call. Ironic that Niklas Ingvarsson was the one who conceded the first penalty for teeing, and now he's on the receiving end of a teeing infringement, as it's Mamoru Yoshikawa who will make way into the penalty box on the near side. So it's 2 minutes now for Sweden to try and force the opposition back into their own territory. A penalty apiece so far in this first period. No goals between these two either. Kasperi trying to change that low effort, and Fukushima was well aware of the laser coming towards him. Tipped it away. Pressure still on. Looped in wide. It's an effort by Ingvarsson, just trying to scoop one forward. Holm can't get there. Hori certainly can. And he just flips it down the centre. And Nielsen taking control of that one. Ulf Nilsson, probably the coolest customer you will ever meet. He so relaxed in the Swedish goal. Makes things look so easy. Holm just beaten Hori to it. He's going to struggle to get to the loose puck, however. Ingvarsson manages to bring it under his spell and does very well to keep it inside the attacking zone as well. Kasperi's got a bit of room. Colliding into him there was Kumagai, back on defensive duty and doing it with flying colours as well. And another few seconds saved by Japan on this penalty kill. Ingvarsson striding forward. You'll have noticed as well with para ice hockey, these players with the two sticks using one end of the sticks like skis to propel themselves forward, and the blades at the other side are used to fire one in towards goal. And it also makes some wonderful stick handling as well with the ambidextrous abilities of these players with the two sticks. Kasperi coming round. Holm's got a bit of an angle, and it's slow and just wide of the far post. Didn't seem to have too much pace on that one, but Fukushima didn't make contact with it. Japan, though, a successful 2 minutes for them. A 2-minute spell that has absolutely flown by, because already Yoshikawa is back onto the ice. So it's still 0-0, firmly in the balance this one, but the pendulum has swung both ways so far in this contest. Neither side, however, being able to take advantage of their power plays. So we're back at 5-on-5 with just over 4.5 minutes remaining on period number 1. Nilsson just keeping in the attacking zone. A heavy clash on the blue line between Lundgren, and also involved in that was Annika, who's going for that one now on the far side. But the referee has given a call for a penalty. So that will be another Swedish penalty. Conceded by Lundgren. And just as Japan got to full strength, they now found themselves with a man advantage. Pseudo falls back. Interference, the call then against Lundgren, and then an offside call there as well against Japan's 55, Takahashi. One thing about the Japanese, you have to say, they're very diminutive around the ice. They are not afraid to get involved and be as tenacious as possible, and they did at times get under the skin of the Germans yesterday. It caused a little bit of frustration for Andreas Picconi's side. And Sweden just have to make sure that they keep their cool themselves. So 1 minute 50 left on the Japan power play. Lundgren out for interference. Rasmus Lundgren, the number 11, the son of the outgoing coach, Jürgen Lundgren, who was coach during the World Championships earlier this year in Korea. Actually his birthday a couple of days ago, and he was here yesterday as well, watching the Germans take on Japan today. Ingvarsson slamming it away. Kumagai trying to show Nilsson a clean pair of blades. Fires one in towards Nilsson, who easily repels. And Sweden bide their time with that dump forward. Uehara, wonderful pace and energy to this game. And Uehara, the orchestrator of all things good for Japan, trying to get forward there. Nilsson stopping him in his tracks, but the puck is loose and worked nicely out now to the space on the near side. Sweden doing their best to get around the ice as quickly as possible and make it seem as though that there is no deficit between them and Japan in numbers. Holm will do the sensible thing and just gently stroke it into the corner and force Japan back. 15 seconds remaining of the Sweden penalty. Lundgren itching to get back out of that cage and onto the ice. Can Sweden survive again? Uehara looking threatening. Kumagai, good strength from Holm, and here comes Lundgren back onto the ice, trying to immediately get onto that loose puck on halfway. Kumagai slammed into the board and coming away with it. Lundgren now trying to find an option in yellow in front of him. Has to resign to the fact there was no one there, and he just tapped it down the line. Kumagai, nice stick handling from him. Got an overlap, uses it. Shot comes in from Nakamura, and don't know if Olsen got a touch to that one. It seemed to go across the face of goal and wide of the far post. Japan on top though. Kumagai trying to find a bit of room near the hash mark, does so as well and scoops it over. And the The whistle has blown. Just trying to find out what that was for. May have been interference with Ulf Nilsson there. Nevertheless, play will restart in the neutral zone, but Japan have their tails up at the moment. They've used the momentum from the power play they had a few moments ago. And the gas is certainly being firmly applied at this moment in time. 90 seconds left. Remains goalless. Japan were 2-0 up at this point yesterday against Germany, so credit to Sweden, who have been defensively sound, and they've had to be as well. Uehara gliding forward again, and he's seen some room to burst into. Nilsson didn't get sufficient contact, the puck is loose, and it's a wonderful block coming in there from Lundgren. Just managing to thwart Yoshikawa, whose eyes must have lit up at the sight of that puck coming towards him. Japan feel as if there was a foul on that far side. The answer is very firm no from the referee. Lundgren elegantly spinning away from the pressure of Kadama. Sweden failing to make the puck stick, however, on too many occasions when inside the Japanese half. Very much been a defensive task for the Swedes so far, which they have come up trumps on. And as we tick down to the final couple of seconds, it looks as if this one is going to be all square after the first 15 minutes here. Really engaging contest between Sweden and Japan. Japan certainly enjoying more of the puck as the period went on. There's been a fair share of penalties and power plays in the opening 15 minutes of this contest. But after the first exchange between Sweden and Japan, we are all square at the first intermission. It's Sweden 0, Japan 0. We'll be back in around 10 minutes time with action of the second period. Do not go anywhere, this is Beautifully in the Balance. Japan moving it quickly. Yoshikawa tries to shoot on it, and then heavy contact there by Hori on home, and it's going around the crease and it's squirmed, but he just couldn't quite direct it goalwards. Pressure still on. Kumagai loses his bearings a wee bit, and Kumagai pulls it back, and this is threatening. The shot comes in low. Battered away by Sweden. Repelled by Uehara. No goals between these two either. Kasperi trying to change that low effort. Tipped it away. Pressure still on. Looped in wide. Kasperi coming round. Holmes got a bit of an angle, and it's slow. Kumagai trying to show Nilsson a clean pair. Got an overlap. Uses it. Shot comes in from Nakamura. Kumagai trying to find a bit of room near the hash mark, does so as well, and he's seen some room to burst into. Nilsson didn't get sufficient contact. The puck is loose, and it's a wonderful block. Japan moving it quickly. Yoshikawa tries to shoot on it, and then heavy contact there by Hori on home, and it's going around the crease and it's squirmed, but he just couldn't quite direct it goalwards. Pressure still on. Kumagai loses his bearings a wee bit, and Kumagai pulls it back, and this is threatening. The shot comes in low. Battered away by Sweden. Repelled by Uehara. No goals between these two either. Kasperi trying to change that low effort. Tipped it away. Pressure still on. Looped in wide. Kasperi coming round. Holmes got a bit of an angle, and it's slow. Kumagai trying to show Nilsson a clean pair. Got an overlap. Uses it. Shot comes in from Nakamura. Kumagai trying to find a bit of room near the hash mark, does so as well, and seen some room to burst into. Nielsen didn't get sufficient contact. The puck is loose and it's all. Welcome back for second period coverage of this World Para Ice Hockey Paralympic Winter Games qualification tournament. Sweden, the host nation, here in Ostersund, taking on Japan. We are all square at 0-0 after the first 15 minutes, but the scoreline not really a reflection of how pulsating and captivating a contest it really has been. Japan have gone so close on a couple of occasions, the closest when Masaru Kumagai looked for all the world that he stuck it into the back of Ulf Nilsson's net, but a remarkable save, should I say, from the Swedish goaltender that denied the Japanese forward. And it really was such an incredible save from Ulf Nilsson. Just in that intermission there, I was talking to a Japanese photographer, and she has actually managed to get a camera on that far side and capture the moment perfectly when Ulf Nilsson just keeps it out on the line. A wonderful dive across to his left-hand side, and Kumagai from close range almost began his celebration, thinking that he'd open the deadlock here. But Nilsson's heroics keep it at 0-0. A first period full of incident, quite a few penalties called on both sides as each day ticks by here in Ostersund. The stakes get even higher, of course. 3 places out of 5 available this week for the invitation for next year's Winter Paralympic Games in PyeongChang in the northeast of the Republic of Korea. Japan with 1 win already next to their name in the league standings after a 6-2 victory over Germany. Sweden, this is their first match. So far, so decent. They've defended wonderfully well, but they do need to offer a little bit more potency at the other end in order to really put in a claim for 3 points here. Early icing call against Japan gives Sweden the opportunity to bank men forward in the offensive zone. And Varsam will be the one locking horns with Takahashi. And the linesman, I think, just picking out some encroachment on the near side of the circle. Maybe the far side as well. A couple of players thinking they could just gain an extra metre by tickling their way into the circle, but the officials, as ever here in this tournament, very wise to those tactics. Lundgren chucking it forward, but Kasperi out-muscled as he attempted to get on the end of it. Lundgren, minor error from him, but it did stop the puck in its tracks from getting to Kumagai. Ingvarsson. Lundgren finding the room on the far side. It's a wonderful take as well. Lundgren against Kumagai, part 2. Hori's there to help. Slip back for Uara, the furthest outfield player back for Japan at the moment. Hori just keeps it in the offensive zone. Sudo, nice approach play again from Japan. Goes loose, however, and Ingvarsson can clear his lines, put under pressure from Hori, who zips about all over on the ice, and it's a nice pass through from Kasperi, and trying to accelerate forward now is Holm. And it goes a bit too far forward for him. And it goes out for icing as Kasperi was just the wrong side of the red line when he played the pass. So 0-0, entertaining first 90 seconds of this second period. It's been a lot tighter than large spells at the first, where Japan really looked as if they were going to take advantage of their territorial dominance. But Sweden again defending extremely well, and one tactic they did in the A-Pool World Championships in Korea earlier this year was they did a very tightly knit square in their defensive zone to force the opposition to the outside. And as good as that tactic was, it did mean on occasion they struggled to open things up at the other end. Another icing call, which demonstrates well, Cajun affair that has been in the early exchanges of period number 2. Of course, in para ice hockey, 3 periods of 15 minutes. If the game is tied after the 45, then we go to 5 minutes of overtime, and it is whoever scores the first takes the bonus point. Uehara. Great surge forward again from him. He got clattered in the process, but he managed to release it nicely towards the path of Annika. But superbly coming across was Meng, who put everything on the line there in order to keep his team defensively sound. Uehara, room again for him, just couldn't quite bring the puck under control. Chance for Meng to start a pressure forward. Rakos just getting up close and personal to Yoshikawa there on the near side. Such a new competitive edge about the 5 teams that are taking part in this tournament, with the prize at the end of the rainbow being the Paralympic Winter Games place. Ambitious from Lundgren, but it was testing for Fukushima. And the puck is stuck in the corner, and so the referee, Martin Repak, just orders a face-off to defuse anything from getting out of hand there. Bit of needle in this fixture, not quite as much as what we saw with the Japanese yesterday against Japan. The Japanese yesterday against Germany, should I say. Japan against Germany, a very physical affair. Despite the penalties we had in the first period, I'd say this has been a far more fairer contest, and the officials have been right on top of things whenever they look as if they may get out of hand. Hori. Bang gives it away quite cheaply, and Nilsson's there. Trying to find Kasperi, just about prods it through that little gap there on this near side. Heavy collision, and it will be a penalty against Marcus Holm. Again, another teeing call. You can just see on the replay how he goes into the side there of the Japan defenseman. And so it's Marcus Holm to sit out the next 2 minutes of action. It's that sort of lack of discipline that Sweden need to iron out. They've conceded quite a few penalties in this match so far. Japan have as well, but Sweden holding firm defensively with 5. And of course, it's always a far more difficult task when you've only got 4. Everyone back for Sweden. Room for Sudo. Just slams it off the helmet of Ingvarsson, who is quickest to the loose pickings. It's a good clearance as well, making Sudo chase around the perimeter of his defensive zone. Heavy contact coming in as well, courtesy that time around of Rakos. Japan survive, and they still have possession at their sticks. Hori. Once again, nice approach play, and the gap has been found, and the shot is in from Masaru Kumagai, who came so close in the first period, but there is nothing else Nilsson could do on that occasion in the second period to prevent Japan taking the lead. Once again, a lovely threaded forward pass this time from Kazuhiro Takahashi, through for Kumagai, and on the angle, slammed it into the far corner of Nilsson's net. Japan finally break the deadlock here. It is Sweden 0, Japan 1. Well, the silver lining of that goal, as far as the host nation are concerned, is that they are now automatically back to 5 players each. But apart from that, there is not much else to cheer about for Sweden, who have paid the price eventually for giving away cheap penalties. And Kumagai lethal in front of goal. That is his 3rd goal in 1.5 games here. Immediate response could be on the cards for Sweden. The shot just looped through off the stick of Fukushima. Ingvarsson there was the one looking threatening. This is a good response though from Sweden if they can keep it up. Nilsson has left his goal. You can see the net vacant on the right-hand side. That is because Sweden are going for 6 outfield players. They're going hammer and tong here on their first day of action to immediately respond with an equaliser. Play stopped by the referee once again, but you can just see there the venomous strike from Ingvarsson that Fukushima was quite fortunate to be able to just get contact on it and scoop it the right side of the post as far as he was concerned. And Hedberg closing in, very unfortunate not to stick one in himself. Ulf Nilsson has returned onto the ice, so just a couple of moments for him away from his crease, and we are back 5-on-5 on the outfield again. Second period beginning to now reach the levels of intensity that we witnessed in the first period. It's been a joy to watch. And long may it continue. As far as Sweden are concerned, however, they need a goal and pretty quickly. Ingvarsson, bit of room. Ingvarsson, can he finish? Well blocked, still scrambling around. Ingvarsson's laying on his side and can't really wrap his stick around the puck and target it goalwards. Still it's alive. Just about before Japan, no nonsense, whip it up the other end of the ice. It's also a player off actually for Japan who are missed. Uehara is serving a 2-minute penalty. He's had 45 seconds of it, and I think that was because just in the last move before the previous face-off, he had the puck under his glove, and of course, holding the puck, if you're an outfield player, results in a minor penalty, and that is why Nilsson is back on to the ice, because Sweden have a man advantage even with a goaltender. Kasperi, nice little leave that for Cederstam. Cederstam, a brand new player in the Sweden ranks. One of 2 new players from the World Championships, Martig Magnaville the other. Yet to see anything of him. Lundgren. Now Holm, slowing things down. Just surveying the scene. Kasperi just taps the ice and says, "This way, please." Horry with a bit of a push there on Kasperi. Kasperi appealing to the linesman on the near side that surely that was an infringement. Cederstam. Sweden keeping things ticking. However, they have run out of power play time, and now Uehara is back on. And that pass will go out for icing. Will it? No. Just behind the halfway line there as that pass was played forward. It was very tight. Kasperi up against Uehara, who's immediately throwing himself into the thick of the action once again. Ingvarsson onto a loose puck, gets away from the first challenge but lost track of it as he tried to make his way into the corner. But this game is being played at 100 miles an hour at the moment, and Sweden are quick across the ice to meet a black jersey whenever they are beginning to look threatening. Just shows the significance of that Japan goal, because straight away Sweden, since the goal, have been on the front and trying to progress forward. Hori trying to get onto the end of that. The referee has his arm up here, and there will be a penalty against Japan, so it'll be another opportunity for Sweden with the man advantage to get things forward. And there you go, possession lost by Sweden is immediately followed by the whistle of Martin Rapak, and again a teeing call has been made from the official, and making way this time around is Wataru Hori. So he will sit out the next 2 minutes, and the second period certainly following suit from the first with the number of penalties we have had. Sweden with another couple of minutes to take advantage of. They struggled to really last time around, but they've been given a second bite of the cherry. Japan coming out on top on the face-off. That was a prominent feature of their success yesterday against Germany, and really on the face of it, Germany, just like Sweden, put up a tremendous battle in that game. However, it was those small margins where Japan just seemed to win all the face-offs that add up to make the rampant scoreline that we saw from Japan yesterday by 6-2. Not quite gone their way this time around, but they do lead by the one, courtesy of Masaharu Kumagai's third of this tournament. Brief moment for Japan to pump a few black jerseys forward. Holm will contest this face-off with Takahashi. Takahashi again on top. Yuiara picking up the loose pickings and firing it straight into the midriff there of Ulf Nilsson. Had to put his body down low a wee bit to get the left glove on it. But even if it had missed his left glove, Ulf Nilsson there had enough behind it to deter it away from his goal. It will be another face-off in the exact same position. And if it ain't broke, don't try and fix it. Takahashi will be the one once again contesting this against a new opponent. This time it is Sweden that come out on top, and they need to get the puck moving quickly. They've got less than 90 seconds still on this power play. They're not making enough of it, Sweden. Lundgren just about keeping track of the puck. Firing it straight into home, and it ricochets nicely in for Japan. A real opportunity, pulled back nicely. A miraculous play at the back there from Ingvarsson, just to nudge himself in front of the onrushing Annika, I think it was. In fact, it was Yoshikawa who was just ousted there by the physical presence of Niklas Ingvarsson. And once again, it's the Sweden number 3 who shows his prowess at the back. There's been a penalty awarded against Sweden. Marcus Holm is now off, so we are 4 on 4. And in 55 seconds' time, Japan will be the ones with a man advantage. Well, the pendulum of this game must be pretty tired by now, because it's been swinging from one side to the other throughout the match's duration. I suspect more of the same in the next 5.5 minutes, but the next goal absolutely crucial in this fixture. If Japan get it, they'll struggle to see a route back into the match for Sweden.
Number 21, Marcus Holm, 2 minutes, holding, time 9:14.
So holding was the reason Marcus Holm left the ice. And in 45 seconds' time, rejoining us will be Wataru Hori. It's funny how quickly things can change. Here's Kamagai. Does really well. There was space on the far side as well for Takahashi. He couldn't be found. Annika got there, but before it could reach its intended target. Takahashi has it now. It's a nice play back for Sudo. Just fires it into Ingvarsson. Yuiara. Pirouettes around the first attempted challenge from Rakos. Goes past him with the second as well, with a bit of help. And now a shot comes in that deflects wide from Sudo. Relentless pace still to this fascinating fixture. The host nation defending for their lives at the moment. They've got 40 seconds left of the penalty before Marcus Holm will restore them to maximum complement in the outfield. Hori leaves it nicely for the onrushing Takahashi. He has to just dump it into the corner and ask a question of his captain Sudo to get on the end of it. Ingvarsson, always a tricky customer, again the stronger out of the two. And now Kasperi, can he work his magic? The Sweden top scorer from the April World Championships with 2 goals. They need a bit of inspiration from him. Ingvarsson will do it himself. That deflects harmlessly wide. Kasperi's got a bit of room to come onto the infield with. Shoots low, and it's simple stuff for Fukushima. Holm is back onto the ice. We are 5 on 5 once again with 3.5 minutes remaining of period 2, and just the 1 goal separating the host nation Sweden and the current silver medalists in the World Championship B pool, Japan. Of course, Japan know all too well how to use home advantage to their strength. With that silver on home territory, Kumagai squaring it, and it's in, and Yoshikawa shows exactly why Japan did secure that podium position on home turf this time last year. Great approach play from Kumagai. He was selfless, and he spotted the room at the back for Yoshikawa, who notches his first goal of this tournament. Japan double their advantage. Now Mamoru Yoshikawa in so much room at the far stick. Gave no hope to Ulf Nilsson in the Sweden goal. And with 3 minutes remaining of this second period, it is Sweden 0, Japan 2. Well, talk about knocking the wind out of your opponent's sails. That's exactly what Japan did there. I said the next goal would be crucial. Don't write off Sweden, but it is going to be an enormously tough task to break down this resilient Japanese side. Ingvarsson outnumbers. Nilsson coming across, the linesman just putting his whistle to his lips.
Assisted by number 2, Wataru Korea. Time 12:53.
So face-off in the neutral zone. And you can just feel the deflation around the arena at the moment. After that second sting in the tail. Ingvarsson. He's got the beaten here of Nakamura. Tries to pull it across, and he wasn't too far away from getting it into a dangerous area that men could goal away. So the puck will be brought back to the Japan defensive zone after that icing call. There are 2.5 minutes remaining of the second period. Can Sweden half the deficit and begin to navigate a route back to parity? Home in the circuit. You see the row there of 4 black jerseys just providing a big Japanese wall in front of Shinobu Fukushima's goal. Again, the puck into a dangerous area, but no one in yellow there to receive it. It's recycled nicely towards the near side, and Kasperi turning nicely, squaring it across. Zipped too far in front of Holm. And a tremendous block from Hori sees possession forced back for Sweden inside their own third. Nilsson, nice reverse pass. Holm manages to bargain himself a bit of room. Kasperi's an option forward and is found now by Lundgren. Decent switch from Kasperi. It's burst onto by Nilsson. Low effort just wide of the post. Back for Kasperi. More like it from Sweden now. Beginning to knock away at the Japanese door. A penalty is in the offing as well against Japan. And it has been conceded by Satoru Sudo, the captain. And just awaiting the referee's signals. He comes across to the near side. I suspect it's a team call. We're about to find out now. Looks like it's a holding call. So, Sudo off for a couple of minutes. Japan losing their captain for the remainder of this second period and for the start of the ever so crucial third as well. And of course, Japan already dealt a tough hand with the injury sustained by their other defenseman, Ijai Misawa, yesterday against Germany, of course, going off with that broken collarbone. And now they've lost their captain as well due to poor discipline. Will it be third time lucky in this period for Sweden, who have had two previous power plays but done nothing with them? There's two Swedes in there, and one of them puts it away. And it is Niklas Rakos, who has just put it into the open goal after Fukushima managed to save the first effort towards him, but fizzed in at the second by Rakos. And the man nicknamed Algen, which translates as Moose, has certainly charged his horns into the Japanese goal there. And given Sweden new life here in Ostersund. It is Sweden 1, Japan 2. What a massive goal. The reprieve being for Japan, of course, is that Sudo re-enters the fray as penalties are suspended when a goal has been conceded. But Sweden, can they use this momentum to provide positive energy to once again penetrate Fukushima's goal and stick away another one? It's loose at the back, and that would have been one hell of a sucker punch if Japan could have scored that one. Nilsson panicking, just applying a bit of calmness in the situation. Is Kasperi there to beat it away? Sudo has it. Now Uehara just sends Kasperi's stick flying, but Ingvarsen picks up the loose puck and he shoots and he slams off the helmet of Fukushima, who spread his body very well indeed there. Coming back was Kumagai, who may have come a little worse off there with the challenge and the follow-through from Ingvarsen, but he seems okay to continue. But what an important save from Shinobu Fukushima. That could be absolutely crucial, not just in the result today, but in the final standings for Japan, who, let's not forget, have 2 days off in a row. They have a day off tomorrow, and they have the day off that all 5 teams have on Thursday. So they are ensuring they give their maximum here in this game after a tough couple of days before they can earn a well-earned break. Hooter sounds at the end of period 2, and goodness me, this is wonderfully poised with 15 minutes remaining in this game. Sweden managing to half the arrears after 2 goals at the start of the second period. First from Masaharu Kumagai, who was absolutely lethal in front of Ulf Nilsson's goal. And then he was the provider for Mamoru Yoshikawa, who just tucked it away at the far stick to seemingly put Japan in a commanding position that Sweden could not repel against. However, it's changed now. Niklas Rakos sticking home the rebound after a good save from Fukushima in the first instance, but Japan outnumbered by the penalty conceded by their captain Satoru Sudo. Paid the price. Rakos with the goal. We've got 15 minutes remaining in this fixture. It's Sweden 1, Japan 2. We'll be back in 10 minutes' time for the blockbuster finale here between the host nation and the World B-Pool silver medalists. collision, and it will at their sticks. Pori. Once again, nice approach play, and the gap has been found, and the shot is in. Once again, nice approach play, and the gap has been found, and the shot is in. 1.5 games here. Immediate response could be on the cards for Sweden. The shot just looped. Ingvarsson, bit of room. Ingvarsson, can he finish? Well blocked. Takahashi again on top. Yuiara picking up the loose pickings and firing it into home, but it ricochets nicely here for Japan. A real opportunity, pulled back nicely. Kasperi's got a bit of room to come onto the infield with. Shoots low, and it's using well. How to use home advantage to their strength with that silver on home territory. Kumagai squaring to their strength with that silver on home territory. Kumagai, he's got the beaten hit of Nakamura, tries to, decent switch from Kasperi, it's burst onto by Nilsson, low effort, just one. Will it be third time lucky in this period for Sweden, who have had 2 previous power plays but done nothing with them? There's 2 Swedes in there, and one of them puts it at their sticks. Pori. Once again, nice approach play, and the gap has been found, and the shot is in. Once again, nice approach play, and the gap has been found, and the shot is in. To their strength with that silver on home territory. Kumagai squaring it, and it's in, and Yoshikawa shows exactly why Japan did secure that podium position on home. Welcome back for the final time in this game between Sweden and Japan to the Ostersund Arena. And what a final period we have in the offing here. Sweden seemingly were dead and buried after Japan's 2 quick-fire goals in that second period. However, they breathed new life after Niklas Rakos, with just 90 seconds left of period number 2, managed to make the most of the Sweden power play and has certainly thrown the cats in amongst the pigeons. Japan have been just as good defensively as they were yesterday, but not quite as clinical in front of goal, but that is due to the excellence of the Sweden defence and also their goaltender Ulf Nilsson, who made 144 saves in Gangneung at the April World Championships. Not quite been as busy for him today as that. I'm sure he's not complaining, but he did make one remarkable save in the first period. And that is why Japan are not out of sight. The next goal will be absolutely crucial. I said that in the last period when he was at 1-0. Japan did get the next goal, and that seemed to be that. Sweden managing to pull out all the stops and get their just rewards as well. Rakos with the goal. He scored in Vancouver at the 2010 Winter Paralympic Games. That goal could give his nation a good chance of paving the way for another appearance at a Winter Paralympic Games. Of course, Sweden have never missed out at a Paralympic Winter Games in para ice hockey, and they will be desperately hoping that this is not the first occasion where they will not be boarding a plane for a Paralympic Championships, especially when these qualifiers are on their own patch. The referee is ready. We are ready, and so are the players. The final 15 minutes of this one. Sweden, do they have another goal in them? Of course, if the game is taken to a draw at the end of the 45 minutes, then we go to 5 minutes of overtime. Next goal winner, it's as simple as that. It could be a case, if Japan score, that it will be that goal that is the winner in regulation. A little bit of work for Ulf Nilsson to do there, just trapping the puck under his right glove, and therefore we will have a face-off in the Japanese offensive zone. Varsson tasked for Sweden to battle alongside Takahashi of Japan. Sweden coming out on top, uncharacteristic of Japan to lose out in a face-off. Kasperi initially took control of that well, but Kumagai with a spring in his blades coming across and picking up possession, or slamming it forwards. Sweden trying to build things up out of the back. Oh, he's careless, and a real chance leads for Japan. What a save by Nilsson. Hori with the goal at his mercy. Just had Nilsson to beat. And Nilsson with some vital fingertips on the end of that puck to divert it over his bar. That could have been game, set and match. Kumagai thought he'd got possession of the puck, but in fact it's still trapped on the near side. It's squirmed away now into the path of Varsson. Nice stick handling from him to switch from the right blade onto the left and play it to the far side and Lundgren. Japan as ever winning the puck back as quickly as they lose it. That is a big trait of their game, something that they struggled to impose in the second period, but again, that's down to the good work of Sweden, who have given it their maximum this afternoon. Nilsson's pass to Rakos is unable to be controlled. Uehara slams it across, it takes a deflection and goes into the goal, and Japan do get a third. They've been peppering around the Swedish net for the first 2 minutes of this third period, and now they have managed to put one past Ulf Nilsson, and that could be the game-deciding goal. Great work from Uehara, the slam across, seemed to take a deflection off number 3 Ingvarsson there, and Nielsen appealed for an infringement in front of him from Wataru Hori. Referee Martin Rapak waved away the protest, and Japan doubled their advantage. It is Sweden 1, Japan 3. We'll have to wait for the official confirmation of who's been credited with that goal, but my money is on an own goal from Nicholas Ingvarsson, and it's not the first time, if that is the case, that Japan have benefited from an own goal in a game here in Ostersund. Yesterday, Ingo Kuli Launstein of Germany put one past his own goaltender. Well, Uera has been given it on the official tannoy, so for now we'll say it's him, but that could be subject to change. And if that is Uera's goal, that is his second of this tournament. Penalty has been given, and it's for slashing, I think. And it is a Japanese player guilty of it, and going off with a wry smile on his face is Mikio Annika, but I don't think he'll be smiling if Sweden can take advantage of this power play like they did with their last one in the second period. First time Sweden have really broken over the halfway line in this third period. And the face-off has just about been lost as well, despite the best efforts of Ingvarsson to sprawl himself across the ice and stretch for possession. So slashing indeed is the call. Kasperi ghosting away past the first challenge and finding a good pass as well. Sweden just trying to knock it forward, but offensively Sweden just don't quite have that attacking prowess that Japan boast. And Japan, their approach play is scintillating at times, and Sweden just don't quite offer that same flair. Ingvarsson will get there ahead of Yoshikawa. Just over a minute left of this power play for Sweden. Can they at least fire a shot away? They have to get into the attacking zone first. We'll get there now. What a super slam from Sudo on the near side. Deters the Swedish promise. Uehara cannons it away, and the applause from the Japanese bench tells you all you need to know, because there's only 35 seconds of the power play now, and Japan so far have got the job done to a T. Kasperi on the outside. Uehara just slams him into the boards. Linesman says he got the puck. Rakos now has possession. He's got a bit of room. Can he pull it back? He does, and it's there in Fukushima's grasp before it could go all the way through for Holm, who was making his way towards the far stick. Solid play from Fukushima. Will be a face-off nonetheless inside Japanese territory, but there are 10 seconds left of the Japan penalty, and I think they're going to survive this. Referee on the far side just ordering the Japanese attempted substitution away. They were trying to get off Kumagai there for Takahashi. They've been denied the opportunity to do so. Play getting underway, and squirming around the hash mark there, but battered away from Kumagai. Now that is job done for Japan. They're back to full strength. Annika back on. We're 5 on 5, and Sweden have a lot of work to do after not making the most of that power play at all. Kumagai almost laying on the puck there. Managed to make sure he negotiated that one legally. It's slammed by Ingvarsson onto the onrushing Hori. So tenacious. He's always sniffing around his Hori. He tries to pull it across, and it's in the end cannoned away from Ingvarsson, almost off the helmet of Nielsen, who just prods it up towards the blue line. Kumagai prodding it through, delicious ball. No one absolutely getting on the end of that one. And a big clash in the far corner. And a face-off ordered. Back in the neutral zone. And a loss of a stick, making things seem not very handsome there. As Kumagai got battered into the corner. Both sides making their fair share of changes with 10 minutes left. Sweden can't be too downbeat. It's only their first game. Japan have played 2. The pressure was on them to make sure they kept up the momentum. Started by yesterday's win against Germany. They've got 2 days off in a row now, and they do not want anybody catching up with them tomorrow. And it doesn't look as if that will be the case. Only the Czech Republic will have won a game alongside Japan. And if the Czech Republic win their game tomorrow, because they've got a day off today, then they'll be joining Japan at the top of the tree. Maybe a bit too early on day 2 to say this, but Japan will know in themselves that maybe a point is all that's required to get them to PyeongChang next year. Face off in the Japan third. Sweden are back in action tomorrow, 12 noon local time. And we have a big game coming up later today as well. Oh, and that is a big goal from Lundgren. Had some of that. Fired into the top bin of Shinobu Fukushima's goal, and like a flash, Sweden once again have half things here and are 1 goal away from equalising things. Lundgren with an absolute firecracker into the back of the net, and an opportunity now for Sweden to gain some parity once more. It is Sweden 2, Japan 3. The goal from Rasmus Lundgren. Well, Lundgren did score at the World Championships in Korea against Norway. We thought that was a big goal there, and this one could be even bigger. And the pressure back on Japan to make sure that they do not open up the gateway for Sweden to enter and get back on level terms. I mentioned Rasmus Lundgren, the son of the outgoing coach Jürgen Lundgren. His father will certainly be proud of that strike. Well, as you were, don't speak too soon at all. Sweden making sure that they are not to be as quickly wrote off as they perhaps were at the World Championships earlier on this year. And they are doing their best now to penetrate the Japanese defensive setup and just get the puck as far forward as possible. That time they're a bit too erratic, and icing is the call against them. As I was just saying before that goal, which I think stunned absolutely everybody, we do have a game at 3 o'clock local time, which is 2 o'clock British summer time, as Germany lock horns with Slovakia, 2 teams that have not yet won a game after day 1. It is certainly a must-win for both. And only one of them will take maximum spoils. Uehara trying to ignite some new life into Japan, and what a beautiful effort that was, sailing towards Nilsson's goal, and he had the time, due to the distance, to assemble himself into the right position there, Nilsson, but the pace of the puck really could have caused 1 or 2 issues. And then play stops in the corner after a bit of argy-bargy and the puck being stationary. Again, the official doing the wise thing by just halting things and making sure that all is in order. Again, both coaches using this opportunity to take off a few players. Both teams with different mentalities at the moment. Of course, Japan wanting to make sure players are rested so that the next 2 days the recovery process will be a seamless one. As for Sweden, they have to make sure that their players are fit and ready for the game this time tomorrow. Uehara on the outside is Hori. And Japan trying to just flip this one like the toss of a coin back into their favour. They almost did. Hori putting it in towards Nielsen's crease. But Nielsen denies Japan for now. And so a face-off will be in order. Halfway through the final period. It's gone by unbelievably quick. But I remember saying yesterday in Japan's game against Germany that the game itself was a wonderful advert for para ice hockey. The scoreline perhaps not, because it appeared that Japan had demolished Germany, which I don't think personally was the case. And in this one, the scoreline and the performance on show certainly doing justice to this cracking sport. If you want entertainment at the Winter Paralympics next year, make sure you tune into some para ice hockey. Should be well worth your time, and I'm sure you'll agree that your afternoon or your morning, wherever you're watching from around the world, will have been justly spent watching this intriguing contest. A couple of complaints there from the Japanese coach, Koji Nakakita, on the far side. He had his arms outstretched. A couple of very physical bustles between the Japan offensive line and the Sweden defence. Things have gone very tight and very frenetic indeed since that Sweden goal, and I just begin to wonder if there's panic setting in the Japan ranks. Sweden very casual to get on the end of that puck there. It's not cost them, however, because it's squared through for Ingvarsson, who initially went back into the clogged up area before thinking better of it and scooping it away towards the far side. Here's Kumagai. Got the ball rolling, of course, for Japan at the start of the second period. And he assisted Yoshikawa to make it 2-0 for Japan. Rakos pulled one back before Uehara's attempted squared feed was turned home inadvertently by Niklas Ingvarsson. Rasmus Lundgren has cancelled out that goal, and that is why we are at where we are at the moment. We have a fantastic final 5.5 minutes to come. It's a 5.5 minutes which will determine whether or not we will have an extra 5 minutes of overtime. And there's a neutral. I certainly would not complain if we had another hour of this game. It's been absolutely remarkable. I'm sure the organisers, though, will want to prevent that from happening, as we do have a game coming up at 3 o'clock local time, which is around an hour and a half from now. Again, it's a scramble around for possession. Very difficult for both teams at the moment to lay their blade onto the puck and make something of it. Sudo's stick is causing a few issues. In fact, it's actually at the stick of Ayala. But it didn't matter because Lundgren has burst towards the blue line. Uehara, as well as a few of his teammates, managing to see that one off. But Meng will repel. Tries to slam one forward. It ricochets back for Nielsen, the furthest outfield player back for Sweden. He can't make a mistake here. Almost got forced into one. And such a close affair at the moment. The pass forward there will go out for icing. Japan, such an attacking team. They'll want another goal, but they'll be very wary as well that by pushing a bit too far forward may leave gaps at the back for Sweden to take advantage of. Of course, I do remember the Germany goal yesterday against Japan from Disveld. The first goal, he had a lot of room to go into before firing past Fukushima. Japan will not want to make that sort of error again. Kumagai on the angle, fires it straight into the chest of Nielsen. You could hear the ping of the puck off of his padding there. It came up towards him. Meng forced into a tight alleyway. Uehara will ghost his way out of it with the puck, and it's a very heavy collision in the centre with Ayala. Again, a stick loose on the ice, which Meng picks up. And Fukushima does well to just release the pass towards his outside left. Uehara taking Lundgren for a ride. And again, a heavy collision between Uehara and this time Kasperi. Lundgren back to pick up possession. The referee's got his arm up here, and it will be a penalty. And who's it going to be going off? Well, he's pointing at Kazurio Takahashi, the number 55, the assistant captain. And we're about to find out why that was. A timeout has been called by Sweden. A big 3.5 minutes for them.
Timeout, Sweden.
Just about to find out what the actual infringement was there as we look at some of the highlights of this third period. And I think the third period alone is worthy of around a couple of minutes of highlights. Goodness knows how long the game highlights in total will be, because it has been a wonderful spectacle here at the Ostersund Arena. The Germany v Slovakia game has a lot to live up to. Japan, you can see the coach at the top left of the screen there. That's Kojin Yakakita, and he's keeping out of the players' way, not using this as a chance to give his players one last rallying call. That's quite surprising. He'd rather be perched on his, at the end of his bench as well. And also you may have noticed just on the left of the shot, a number 25 shirt in the Japan bench, and that is Ijai Misawa's, of course, the player with the broken collarbone after yesterday's game against Germany. But his shirt is still here, and he'll no doubt be finding some way of watching on before he makes the trip back to Tokyo. So he watches his teammates in action here, and he'll certainly be biting his nails. Ingvarsson just waiting for an opportunity to release. Lundgren offers the outside option, fizz it into the centre. Rakos can't get his bearings right. Lundgren, nice stick landing from him. There's two Sweden shirts free here. One of them's home, couldn't quite make the most of it. Lundgren wide. Tasty effort from Lundgren, but this time couldn't get it on target. Kasperi, Ingvarsson, he spears one in, and then it's going around the crease, just about held onto by Fukushima, but that was just fizzed into a crowd of bodies of both black and yellow, and it really could have cannoned off anyone and into the back of Shinobu Fukushima's net, which is living a little bit of a charmed life at this moment in time. Will there be one last fire from the Sweden cannon in these remaining 3 minutes that will drag it into overtime? Of course, if it is a draw, both teams will get a point, and the winner in overtime gets a bonus point. If Japan hold on, all 3 of the points will be theirs. Kasperi has an option behind him, which is Lundgren. Opts against that and wants to play the more offensive pass with Holm. Forced into a corner. Ingvarsson for support. Here is Ingvarsson. Going to shift it onto the left stick. Uehara's being a bit of a nuisance. Japan holding firm. They've got 2 out towards the puck and 2 back defending. Lundgren's got a bit of room. He releases one once again. It deflects around and fired wide from Kasperi. A difficult angle to wrap his stick around and put it home. And then a poor pass from Holm. And Sweden are forced back into the neutral zone. And Japan will breathe a big sigh of relief. We have 35 seconds left of the Sweden power play. Holm. Whistle is blown for offside. Sweden too keen to burst forward, and the applause and the sticks you can hear rattling there are those of a Japanese persuasion. just see that number 25 shirt just underneath the scoreboard there to the left of the screen. Yuji Misawa's, there it is. And of course we wish him the best of luck in his recovery from that awful broken collarbone. Lundgren trying to squirm it forward. It's coming back off Sudo inadvertently for Kasperi. There's men back for Japan to try and slam it clear. In a bit of a struggle. Once again, a stick is loose in the centre of the Japan third. Puck just kept in the attacking zone. Lundgren, does he have room here? Took his time. Into a bit of a tangle with Sudo as well. And the puck eventually cleared away by Yoshikawa, and that will be the last action of the Sweden power play because both teams are back up to full strength. Onto the ice, returning is Takahashi. Home. Sweden with their tails up here, but spirits may be dampened in the next 60 seconds if they don't get an equaliser. A lot of encouragement though for Sweden, who are offering a lot more offensively than they did in the first couple of periods. Icing the call. A couple of changes being made from Sweden as well on the far side. The Japanese coaches shouting towards the referee for a timeout, and the whistle has been blown by Martin Rapak, who is now receptive to that call from Koji Nakakita. So Sweden, of course, already using their timeout. I'm sure they'll be grateful for this timeout as well, but Japan using this, I think, as a way of just sort of killing the momentum a little bit and stunning Sweden's progress. But again, here we see Uehara slamming it across. That made it 3-1. Last touch coming off number 3, you can see there in the face-off circling Varson, who was retreating to help his teammates. But his teammate certainly helped him out a few minutes later. Lundgren, look at that. Unbelievable pace on the shot. There was no stopping that effort. So Sweden have certainly been encouraged since by that goal. But Japan certainly have high morale here. Maybe a couple of worries defensively going into the next couple of matches that may need to be addressed if they are going to progress to the Paralympic Winter Games next year. They conceded 2 against Germany yesterday, conceded 2 against Sweden today as well, but certainly one thing working in their favour is their diminutive nature going forward, and they've amassed 9 goals in almost 2 matches. Again a scramble for possession. Rakos, tight angle, slams it off the helmet of Fukushima, squirms free, and just in the nick of time is Takahashi to divert it away. Sweden have a couple of men over here. Meng fires it across, and Kasperi couldn't stick out a stick. Lundgren, reverse pass trying to find Kasperi. Japan pressed inside their own third, but try and break away now as Kumagai got a touch on it. Nilsson, meanwhile, the goaltender, he's not at his net. It's 6 attacking players for Sweden here against Japan's 5. But the puck is loose, and can it be put away? Hori hits the outside of the post. But Sweden without a goaltender, with their backs to the wall, they don't want to be in this position right now. They've got to get it away and do so as well. But there's 5 seconds left, and the Japanese are counting down, and the Japanese are going to get there despite the fact Meng bursts through. And it is Japan who have made it 2 wins out of 2 in the tightest of circumstances here against a Sweden side who came so close towards the end, and despite throwing as many players as they could forward, just didn't quite have enough to scratch onto the scoreboard and equaliser. Japan celebrate to the right of halfway, very jubilant indeed. 2 games down for them, and 2 wins as well. 6-2 yesterday against Germany and 3-2 today against Sweden. They have earned their 48-hour rest, that is for sure. As for Sweden, that was their first game. They still have games in hand over Japan to try and resurrect this result, but they certainly could not have given much more today. You can just see the delight though of the Japanese on the right on the blue line. Now we are going to find out the player of the game for both sides. It could be anyone from either team, but for Sweden, it's number 5, Ulf Nilsson. And if you were watching the World Championships in Gangneung earlier this year, then you may be feeling like you've got a bit of Groundhog Day going on, because he won Player of the Game so many times for Sweden out in the Republic of Korea, and rightfully gets it today as well. Usually when a goaltender is given Player of the Game, it shows bad on the defenseman, but Nilsson saving that first period should not be forgotten, and he deserves Player of the Game regardless. And now it's number 32 for Japan who wins their Player of the Game award, Daisuke Uehara, who is credited with the 3rd goal as he fisted across the face of Ulf Nilsson's net before it took a deflection off Niklas Lindbarsson. That made it 3-1 to Japan. It was hairy, scary stuff ever since, but Uehara has had 2 amazing games, and now it's time for the Japanese national anthem. And there we have it. Japan delightful on the back of that one. They win this by 3-2 against Sweden. And if your para ice hockey fix has not yet been fulfilled, then you needn't worry, because if that game has whetted your appetite for even more of this fantastic sport, then we'll be back in an hour's time. Germany taking on Slovakia, both teams eyeing up their maiden 3 points of this Paralympic Winter Games qualification campaign. But for now, after this thrilling affair, and Japan winning by 3-2 against Sweden, we wish you a very good afternoon, and we'll see you in an hour's time.